All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Campfire Spookhouse. I'm Scary Terry. This guy is
Rock Horror.
and we are Campfire Spookhouse. We are reviewing episode 30 for It Chapter 2, the follow up to the prior one. It was directed by Andy Muschietti. It was written by Gary Doberman, produced by Barbara Muschietti, Dan Lin, Roy Lee, and it starred Jessica Chastain as Beverly Marsh, James McAvoy as William Denbrough, Bill Hader as Richard Tozier, Isaiah Mustafa as Mike Hanlon, Jay Ryan as Ben Hanscom, James Rassone as Eddie Kasprak. Nope, James Ransom. I can't ever read my own writing. James Ransone as Eddie Kasprak, Andy Bean as Stanley Uris, Sophia Lillis as Young Beverly, Jaden Martell as Young Bill, Finn Wolfhard as Young Richie, Chosen Jacobs as Young Mike, Jeremy Ray Taylor as Young Ben, Jack Dylan Grazer as Young Eddie, Wyatt Olef as Young Stanley, and Bill Skarsgård, of course, as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. And the description of the film is 27 years after their first encounter with the terrifying Pennywise, the Losers Club have grown up and moved away until a devastating phone call brings them back. Its release date for this film was September 6, 2019. Its budget was $79 million, and its box office return was $473.1 million.
So not as much as the first one.
Not as much as the first
but
one.
But still, it's like close. It's close to $500 million.
You gotta bear in mind too. Like I think about because this film, it seemed when it came out that not a lot of people were responding as well to this one as the first one.
Yeah.
So chances are, I mean, there may have been people who've gone to see it and told others don't even bother.
I don't know what they were expecting.
Well, I mean, I thought when this movie was going to come out that it was going to have even higher budget and then also have a higher return just because of how popular the first one was.
Yeah, I don't know. They filmed these movies back to back, basically, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So I think when you're doing that, you're hoping for, but I think the reason when people do stuff like film things back to back, especially on something that is not necessarily proven, it is because they're trying specifically for story continuity,
right? And
things of like in the sort, like they would have made one 6-hour movie, but they know no one's sitting through that.
Yeah, true. What did you think of It Chapter 2 overall?
So this, similar to the first one, I liked, but I liked in a different sort of way. Like, I think the main reason that I liked Chapter 2 was because it improved upon or kind of gave more background and backstory to the adults. You had a better understanding of who they were and what happened since you last saw them.
Yeah, it's 27 years later. I mean, there's a lot that we missed in between. So I felt throughout the film, they sort of really filled in the gaps, but they didn't give it to you just all right away.
No.
But I like that it came in doses, that it was provided to us.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot more about these characters. And I think that it was interesting, the path and directions that some of these characters had taken later on, because they did overcome Pennywise 27 years before. They fought him off.
Yeah.
And I think that improved their confidence.
Definitely.
So, for Ben, for example, for him to be kind of like the chubby kid and he grows up and then he cares a lot about his body. I mean, he now has that confidence to be like, to completely transform his life around, where before he was this insecure and, really terrified child. Yeah. But he really, turned his life around, became rich, had a business, became successful. And I really like the transition of a lot of these characters. But then I also like, they knew 27 years later, this problem was going to rise again.
At the very least, they were preparing,
expecting kind
of potentially that it would happen. Yeah.
And then when it does, though, despite that preparing and that expectation, it's like they're stricken with that fear all over again, because now it was like maybe a miracle that they got through it the first time. They don't want to revisit that again,
Yeah, I think that a part of that fear was the forgetting portion.
Well, 27 years later. That
Well, it's
makes
not just
sense,
it. It is the whole. It is the whole lore about when you move away from Derry, you just forget, right?
Yeah.
So that in itself, I think, plays into it. Kind of helps to play up the fear.
Yeah, true.
Because you don't know why you're afraid.
Right.
You have this crippling fear, and you don't have all the memories to put two and two together, which makes it even more scary.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the first movie we talked about how it seemed the adults were more like the villains, and they were terrifying to these children, and they all had problems of their own.
Yeah.
And several of them, with the exception of Mike, they got out of that toxic town, right? They moved away, they lived their lives. And then, like, when they come back, it kind of feels in a way that they have their own problems to deal with, but they're still children inside, still the same kids that they were. So when they come back to this town, as toxic as Derry is, they're not coming off the same way that the adults did when they were kids. Like, they've moved on from that.
So yes, it's interesting. One of the things, specifically the Mike character, that I appreciated about this version than the miniseries was it made me. I had a better insight as to why Mike stayed, because or at least I don't recall it being emphasized about Mike's parents, Mike not having parents, and how that would have affected him. Like, him being the only one to not leave. Where's he going? Where's he leaving from? Like, his parents already left.
True.
Like, he was the only one out of all of them who was, like, legitimately alone.
Yes.
And of course, he had his his uncle.
His uncle in the first one, yeah.
So yes, of course. But even though, and you saw the kind of picture at the beginning of this one of his uncle.
Yep.
Yeah. So just kind of pointing reference to that, but yes, it is a case where I got some insight as to why he would stay, and why he would be the one to kind of figure things out and hold things down.
Yes.
Because although everyone kind of moved on, they didn't really move on. They went on. It's more like they went on with their lives.
Yes.
But they couldn't move on because Pennywise, of course, was not dead, just temporarily out.
Yes. Yeah. I think that he was the most prepared of all of them for it, because he was expecting it, and that promise that they made when they were kids, that meant the world to him, because, again, you mentioned that him kind of just being alone, like, they're really all that he has, so that promise would be all that he has to lean off of. That
is his surrogate family.
Yes.
And to a person who would have lost their family, that's everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of funny, actually, because, like, until now, I guess I didn't really realize that, like, Mike truly does feel like the leader of the Losers Club. Like, I always thought it was Bill, because it seemed that way, but Mike kind of keeps everyone in check, and he seems to be the one that always has the plan.
Yeah. And, well, remember in the first movie, the kind of lessons that his uncle was teaching him?
Yes.
I think he was the only one, and once again, them being like the black family, or one of the few black families in the town, they had no choice but to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
So they would instill that in him.
True.
In a way that the other kids wouldn't have been instilled in them.
Yeah.
So he will prepare, and he will be ready, and he will have a plan, because he literally has been kind of just pounded into his head. He needs to be ready.
He's been
prepared.
Soldiering all these years for this.
Absolutely.
To fight this war, essentially, again. I think, and it's funny too, because, like, I was mentioning while we were watching this movie, I really feel like the adult actors spent so much time with their counterparts, with the child actors playing the younger, so that they can really pick up on their mannerisms and inflections, because some of these characters, like, they went off to live separate lives, but it didn't seem like they really changed that much. Yeah. Like, they're more confident, and they now can handle the responsibilities and do what they need to. But it's just kind of interesting that there's just some things that they can't let go of. Like, Richie still kind of being the little asshole that he is, and sarcastic, but Eddie's still like the guy who's still scared of everything, you know, and hypochondriac.
Yes.
But it's just like really interesting, like when they all regroup and they all get back together. It's like all of their little parts of who they are. It all just comes out again.
Yeah.
And it makes up the Losers Club for what they are.
Yeah.
I think the performances were great.
Yeah, definitely in these movies. That was something, I don't know that I was concerned about it. I was just waiting to see because I thought that the child actors did a really good job. Yeah. I said, of course, I had a beef with, what's his name? The guy from Stranger Things.
Finn Wolfhard, as young Richie, yeah.
I always it took me a while to adapt to his character, or more like his approach to acting in general.
Right.
But I really enjoyed the portrayals of all the adult versions in this particular.
And I also felt watching this one, it didn't focus as much on Pennywise.
Yes.
This time.
It's one of the things I actually appreciated about this movie was that you got a lot, and maybe, to be honest, maybe people were in it, and that's why it didn't do as well. People were in it
expecting more of Bill Skarsgård.
That's Pennywise. Whereas this one, he was more in the background until he had no choice but to come out in the front.
Yeah, yeah.
The kid or young people kills, still hard to watch,
especially the scene at the fair.
Yeah.
When behind the glass and the little kid getting eaten, that was really tough to watch because
it was that one, the little girl underneath the stadium steps.
Oh yeah, true. Honestly, not children, but like even the couple at the beginning.
Well, that's what I was gonna mention that. Like that was just a really rough. That was just a rough. The whole thing was a rough thing to watch. In my mind, I'm just like, why can't Pennywise eat those guys?
Well, and you know, it's when I was watching this, when that couple were being attacked, I was thinking they're adults though. Why is Pennywise taking so much time trying to eat them? Like, but then as I was continuing to watch, it made sense because they're adults now.
Yes, and
he's still going after them.
Yes.
Well, actually, they're kind of seeking him out, but also like he's.
Well, they made a mention of that. They said that we didn't end it; we altered it. Yeah. I think Mike mentioned that. So now he goes after adults as well.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, man. I
think it's not necessarily adults. I think this one is just focusing on people who he thought he could scare and you'd be, like, weak.
Yeah, true. I do like this movie.
Yes.
I think I lean more towards the first one.
Same.
But I absolutely love with the second one how much they focus on story.
Mm-hmm.
And the traits and qualities of these characters. And they focused on that in the first one too, don't get me wrong. I mean, in the first movie, it was a little bit longer because you got to actually see these kids and their fears that they were being encountered with, each one of them. In this one, you're kind of seeing the same thing, but it's focusing more on the traumatic effect that what they experienced in childhood has now had on them in adulthood. And I appreciate that.
I think that the reason why this one might not be as compelling to a wider audience is because it is a part of the story that answers the questions, and it's the part of the story that kind of fills in any kind of gaps that you would have had.
Yeah.
And because of that, it has to pay service to so many things that it's not going to be as compelling as just, what is this thing?
Yeah.
There's no mystery. We know what Pennywise is.
Yes.
We killed Pennywise to some extent.
Yes.
Like all of that has already happened. So now it is hard to repeat that. That's not what a movie is. It's a completely different type of movie. And I believe that is why it doesn't have the same legs.
Yes.
It's a necessary movie, but it's not necessarily a more entertaining movie.
I also think with this movie, it executed itself well because I think this movie did, with story and layering and filling in blanks, what we think or feel a lot of final seasons to TV shows or series finales should do, that they don't always. And this, you're taking on a larger scope with this because there's so many different characters that you need to cover all the bases of each of them, which explains the long duration of these films, especially this one. But it covers everything. Like there's no loose ends. Everything is connected together. And I think that they executed that really well. And I think that's why I still really like the second movie and I enjoy it, just not as much as the first.
So the second movie is a great movie. And if it was just a movie kind of on its own, it would still be a great movie. It's one of those things where sometimes something can't shine as bright because it is right next to the sun.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just the case for chapter 2. It would never be able to shine as bright because chapter 1 it shines.
Yep. I was really moved by Jessica Chastain as older Bev.
Both of those actors, the
younger
well. And the older, just.
I think the same thing about Jaden Martell and James McAvoy as young Bill and older Bill.
Yes.
I think the same thing about Mike. Older Mike was just as good as young Mike. But this movie, I think the performance actually that may have grabbed me the most, attracted me the most, was actually older Eddie.
Yeah.
Because I think it is kind of a challenging role to play a kid who's quite literally afraid of every single thing. And you have to have reactions for everything that you think could be wrong.
Yeah.
And for him to continue doing that and hitting every note of that as an adult, it was really well done.
And doing it in a way where there's these subtle things he's able to pull off because he's afraid. He's not as afraid as he was as a kid.
Yes.
But he's still afraid.
He has what older Stan has, but he has a little more courage to face it.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously older Stan committed suicide.
Yeah.
But I think it's great because I want to see that pullback from older Eddie where he's hesitant and he can't bring himself to do it. And then right at the very end, he acknowledges that, no, I need to.
Yeah.
And he goes out and he does what he had to. And sadly, of course, he lost his life for it.
Yeah.
But it made me really appreciate Eddie more.
Yeah, no, as I said, these characters and these stories, I didn't read the book, but I imagine that this is something that Stephen King is probably proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just one of those stories, too, about Eddie where, he's like the least likely person to turn out to be the hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's great. I love it for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. These movies combined together are just really strong.
It's a great character arc. Because being like the afraid one, not the deathly afraid, but basically the one who's afraid of everything or scared of everything to an extent, or degree. For him to overcome that, and then that kind of result in his death, is this epic character arc. Yeah.
And I think Bill Skarsgård, still did really well. Great job as Pennywise. Just not as noticeable in this one because it's not. This one's not really all about him anymore.
What's cool about this movie and kind of what it does is it puts a nice bow tie on this whole story in a way because it kind of reminds you that in fact it was never really about Pennywise. Yeah, this is a story about these kids and
absolutely. Yeah. I think the movie was good. I like I said, there's a lot that I appreciate about it, especially these two, combined together as a whole, and it really. I think it captures the story, the whole story, for the most part. I think for this film, out of 5 jump scares, I'm comfortable with giving it a 4. I don't think I would rate it as strongly as the first one. Yeah. But I am comfortable with giving it a 4 because I'm still satisfied with it, and it still gave me what I needed from it. I just don't think that it might have been everything that I was expecting from it upon watching it at first glance, which I think may have been the reaction for most people who watched it in 2019 when it was released.
Yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a necessary sequel and conclusion.
Yes.
Still a great film. Really enjoyed the adult performances, but correct. This is not a classic. This is a long movie and not one that I think that I'm going to be quick to rewatch.
Yes.
Whereas I'd be quicker to watch the first one. We've discussed the reasons for that, and for that reason, I'm comfortable I think you're right on the money, because I was hoping you weren't going to say like 4.5 or something like that.
No.
But it's not like low. It's not 3 something. I think 4 is the right place for it.
It's like, I think if you were to give it, even if you gave it 3.5, I feel like I could understand. But
I can understand.
I feel more comfortable just saying 4.
I think that I'd be wrong if I said 3.5, and I think I'd be wrong if I said 4.5. So you know where we're at.
Right.
Okay.
I also really
4 jump scares, just to be clear.
4 jump scares from both of us. I also think, though, that one last thing I want to mention is I also really appreciated about this film the way that it sort of transitioned and dissolved back and forth from them being adults to kids. The way it kind of just moved like that. Like, you remember when adult Eddie was in the pharmacy and he was standing at the table, and then you could see young Eddie like walking up and then directly walking into frame, like into his older face. I thought that was fucking great. Really well done.
Yeah. Like I said, excellent film. Just, shining next to the sun. What are you going to do?
It's true. So 4 jump scares for both of us. Let us know what you guys think of it. And please stay tuned for the next episode that we're reviewing, because I really like this movie a lot, and I'm hoping that a lot of you do as well. It is a sci-fi horror from 1998, directed by Robert Rodriguez. The film is called The Faculty. Super excited about this. So if you're a fan of The Faculty or you haven't seen it, you're not going to want to miss this episode. So until then, we're signing off. I'm Scary Terry.
I'm Rock Horror.
And we are Campfire Spookhouse, where we scare ourselves awake. We'll see you next time.